ReconAthlete.com podcast is brought to you by Lawnman ATX and Kreitz Market.
These rings are heavy, though.
Oh, come on, man. You were showing them off, and now he's got the heavy.
This fool says these rings
are heavy, though, dog. You know what I'm saying? All that gold.
Gold.
Dog, if these were real, I want to be right here right now.
I know you would be.
I'd be in that big old house like, y'all come to my crib, dog. We got a studio.
ReconAthlete.com podcast episode number 25. Chris Sanchez, Paul Rodriguez, King Kalunga, Lucha Libre. Oh, man, I should ask you what your Lucha name is, dog.
Shoot, Big Panzon. That's it.
Oh, man. I just, unmasked you, dog. I said King Kalunga.
It's all good, man. It's all good. They got to take it off to unmask me. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Okay.
Not like Ray and stuff whenever he gave in WCW that time. And
oh, yeah.
You remember that, man? Dude.
Man, yeah. I got some homies. Shout out to BJ. I know BJ knows that story. I got some homies are big into some wrestling, dog.
Oh, man, I'm big into wrestling, dude. I go to all the events when they come. Like, I went to Hell in the Cell last year.
Yeah.
Got to see Undertaker come out. I went to Raw on my birthday, June 4th, dude, and I was on TV the whole night on Monday Night Raw, and I had the spinner belt, and, like, you can see me in the crowd just spinning my stuff. I had so many people texting me, too, like, bro, like, stop playing with your belt. Stop looking at your phone. I'm like, y'all stop messaging me, telling me y'all see me on TV. Like, I was like, bro.
For real.
Yeah. That's what's up, man. Well, appreciate you coming back.
Appreciate you.
Hanging out with us here on ReconAthlete.com podcast. Shout out to Zach Lucetto. He said he's going to make it tonight, but he'll be back on Saturday.
Yep.
Shout out to Snoop Daniel as well. He's making some mixtapes right now for FanStan ATX. Shout out to FanStan. Speaking of FanStan, we're going to talk a little bit about the playoffs coming up here on Friday night. Then we're going to get into some college football. Talk a little bit about the playoff rankings. Some about the Longhorns. We mentioned the Aggies. We haven't mentioned the Aggies in a couple weeks, but
they're not even top 25 yet. So
let
them climb back up, and then we'll give them some love.
Yeah, shout out Jimbo and all them. And then we're going to get into the NFL, of course, because the Steelers had a big win last Sunday, and King Kalunga coming through talking about, hey, we got the same record as the Cowboys, man. I'm ready to talk about that. So that'll come up later on in the podcast. So make sure y'all stay tuned. But first of all, let's get into Friday night. Big playoff night. We got some big games going Friday night. There's actually one Thursday night game that we need to mention. It's McCallum and Cedar Park over at Gupton Stadium, 7 o'clock. So if you're not doing anything tomorrow night, it should be a pretty good game. Cedar Park sitting at 6-0, 9-1 overall in 2019. And the McCallum Knights, 5-5, 4-3. A little bit of a tough season this year, and this is going to be a tough game for the McCallum Knights there, Paul.
I see Cedar Park, just go ahead and take care of business early. They've hit their stride. They've come off some big, huge wins to close out that district. And for the district title, they had that huge matchup against Hutto a couple of weeks. But I think Cedar Park's going to make a huge run. Number 7 or 8 in the state right now. So look forward to a huge game Thursday night, tomorrow at 7 o'clock at Gupton. So best of luck to McCallum. But Cedar Park's getting the big dub tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're getting to the 6A games on Friday night. Cedar Ridge and Cypress Woods. That game's going to be at the Berry Center, 7 o'clock kickoff. The winner of that game is going to play Spring or the Woodlands. So we'll see with that one. Cy Woods is 7-3, 7-1 overall in their district. Man, we got some really good teams, these Cypress teams that we're seeing over there. Stony Point taking on Cy Ranch. Cy Ranch is 7-3, 6-2 overall. The winner of that game is going to play the winner of Klein Oak and MacArthur. Vista Ridge taking on Tomball Memorial. 9-1, 7-1 overall. 7-1 in district, 9-1 overall for Memorial. Winner of that game is going to play Westfield and Klein Cain, or the winner of Westfield versus Klein Cain. Then we got Vandy, of course, taking on Cypress Bridgeland. Bridgeland is 8-2 in the 2019 season, 6-2 in the district, and the winner of that game will take on Klein Collins or Decaney. Vista Ridge and Vandy are in D2. Cedar Ridge, Stony Point in D1. Out of these 4 teams in 13-6A, Paul, top 2 do you think to advance? Are these matchups and these teams here?
Out of Division 1 or both divisions?
Out of both divisions.
Lake Travis for sure, I think, is a lock. Vandy's a lock as well. But I want to really see how well Hayes plays against Judson. Judson's a top 5 team in the state right now. If they come out and show and maybe surprise the Rockets out there at Rutledge Stadium, I think they may be able to get ahead. But I know Converse Judson is just producing mass talent right now. They're 9-1 for a reason. Top 5 team in the state for a reason. So best of luck to Hayes. But I think our locks are Lake Travis and Vandy out of the first round by district.
Yeah, and Hayes is taking on Converse Judson. The winner of that game will take on O'Connor or Reagan out of San Antonio. Westlake versus Cibolo Steel. Cibolo Steel's 8-2, 5-2 in that district. Winner of that game takes on Roosevelt or Brennan. Lake Travis versus Smithson Valley. Smithson Valley 6-4 on the season, 4-3 in district. Winner of that game takes on Madison or Stevens.
Shout out to Colton Thomason, freshman left guard or tackle, I believe. 6'7", 345, 15 years old. Shout out to Colton.
That's what's up. And Bowie, of course, against Schertz Clemens. Clemens 9-1 and 7-0 in that district. The winner of that game will take on the winner of Brandeis versus Judson. Those are just the 6A matchups, Paul.
Big time matchups in by district.
Those are some huge matchups,
Big
man.
time.
And that's just the Austin area, Austin and Houston area, man. I mean, when you look at a lot of the big matchups that are happening in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, there's some big ones up there too. But I think that the level of talent, especially in 13-6A and 25-6A, has gone through the roof in the past at least 10 years that I've seen, that I've been covering high school football in this area. And it's been crazy.
That Westlake Cibolo Steel, that's a state championship caliber matchup right there.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel really bad whoever's going to come up short in that game. So Westlake, get things ready to go. I think it's going to be a huge win for them. But gosh, if anybody comes up short, it's going to be a long road back.
Yeah. 5A matchups, we got Glenn versus Bernie Champion, Eastview and Kerrville Tivy, Manor and Dripping Springs. That's going to be a huge game. It's just going to be one of those slobber knockers, I think. Manor's going to want to just run the ground game. Dripping Springs, I'm not sure what their quarterback situation is right now, but I know they like to do things through the air. So it's going to be, I think two different styles clashing with Manor and Dripping Springs. Well, you saw Drip. I don't know if you saw Manor this year.
I haven't seen Manor this year, but I know what Dripping Springs can do at home. And if Manor can just go out and get that tape of Hayes versus Dripping Springs, you can run the ball on this team. And it's just, can you keep up with them is the biggest question. And can you not make bad errors in the game to stay alive and keep yourself in it the whole time?
All right, Seguin and Hutto, that's going to be Friday night at 7:30 as well. The game I'm actually really interested in, I might end up going to, it's going to be Georgetown and LBJ. That's going to be at Nelson Field at 7:30 p.m. I think that's going to be a really, really great game. And the LBJ Jaguars, I think, are real hungry right now. And Georgetown might be in a position where they might be a little bit vulnerable in this by-district matchup, Paul.
Well, Georgetown's not the only one with some D1 talent out there. LBJ can match it just as well as anybody, but I want to know if LBJ's biggest crutch, and that's going to be their depth. Are they going to be able to go 4 quarters with Georgetown, who's going to be able to produce a lot of players and move people in, move people out? The endurance is going to be the biggest factor in that game for LBJ, but gosh, they got some talent and some speed to go the distance. So best of luck on by-district Friday night for those two gentlemen. Nelson Field, Central Austin, right outside of 290 and 35.
Yeah,
that's a great location for you to get to. And you know what? There's plenty of parking also.
Yeah, that's going to be an awesome game. And, of course, I'll say the best for last. Shout out to Kreitz Market, a sponsor of ReconAthlete.com. Shout out to King Kalunga.
Shout out Keith Smith.
Keith Smith. Shout y'all out. Also, of course, Lawman ATX, Chris Becker, and the fine folks down in Flatonia.
We're gonna finish with them.
Oh yeah, Lockhart and Weiss.
It's about to go down
at the field, and I haven't seen Weiss play, in person since the first game of the season. The first game of the season for the Weiss Wolves was their very first ever, very first varsity win. I was very impressed with the Weiss Wolves. Weiss Wolves go on to be 8-2, 6-1 in their district, and the Lockhart Lions coming off a big win last week against Uvalde. You were at the game, Kalunga.
Dude, what I saw from those sidelines, like I was feeding off them boys. That's why I got some of that footage that I got, because I was like, these boys want it, man. Like, I'm not even going to lie. Uvalde, they came to spoil Lockhart Lions and get them out of the playoffs. Lockhart wasn't having it.
Yeah.
They were like, nah, bro. Like, I'm not going to lie. Uvalde was throwing 70-yard bombs, getting them right after Lockhart was answering with an 86-yard touchdown kick return. That boy Ellison was just running all over those boys. I think he had 3 total touchdowns that were over 50 yards plus, and punt return for 72 yards. Like, that boy was just killing it. And what Lockhart was doing, man, like they were hungry on the sidelines. They were hungry. You could see it on my footage on Twitter, on Recon Athlete on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Those boys wanted it, man. It was a real emotional win too, because one of the youngsters too on the defense, he made pretty much the game-winning play, getting that interception at the end of the game. And like, bro, like it was so live in that crowd, the stands, the sidelines, the coaches, these coaches too for the Lockhart Lions, man. I really love them. Man, like, we have a good squad this year, and I really think they can bring it, man. Like, I hear Weiss is good. I've never got to see him play at all. But the way Lockhart was playing, if they play with that same intensity and they come at him like that, they have a really good chance of winning.
Yeah, and the Weiss Wolves, their strength is their defense. And to me, you know, Lockhart, I mean, they put them points on the board, man.
Yeah, but Paul was telling me they have some D1 boys on that defensive backfield, man, and that's a little – it's going to be a test for these receivers because we have some good receivers, we have some good tailbacks, but – I don't know, man. I think they can play with these boys. I really think they can. If they bring that same intensity that they brought to Uvalde, they have a really good shot, man. It might be a shootout as well.
Yeah,
I was just kind of going to bounce off of that, John, about how this could be a shootout. Lockhart's coming off a huge emotional win last week that they had to go out toe for toe and battle out a grinding game, grinding back and forth all 4 quarters. And, you know, Weiss had a very competitive game to end the season for a district crown, and they came up a little bit short. But I think you have 2 teams. These are probably the most evenly matched teams that are going to be in the bi-district round this time. But, gosh, if Lockhart can just keep up with Weiss, and I think that's going to be the biggest thing because Weiss is going to come and hit you in the mouth. And it's like Mike Tyson always says, you always got to plan until you get hit in the mouth. And that, I think, is what we're going to see on Friday night at the Pavilion here in Pflugerville.
You going to go to that game?
I'm going to that game.
Yeah,
for sure. I'm gonna
be
sidelined for that game for sure,
Yeah.
man. Like, I got to bring it, man. Recon Athlete's gonna be out there for sure on the sidelines.
All right, so Recon Athlete gonna be there. Recon Athlete probably gonna be at Nelson Field for LBJ Georgetown. I really want to see that game, man. There's so many big games, and I know if Zach was here, he'd be like, "Oh man," he's like, "You're not gonna go to Westlake. You're gonna go to Lake Travis."
Well, I might be down south at Rutledge Stadium seeing Converse Judson and Hayes.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, man. Like, yeah, those are big games, but I don't know. I just feel like, you know, when you have 2 local teams, you know, battling it out like that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, it's fun it'll be fun to see Cibolo Steel and Smithson Valley. Don't get me wrong. You know, especially against Westlake and Lake Travis.
Right.
But when you know these players, you've seen these guys play before. You know, you've been following them all season long. I mean, you just have a little bit more invested into these teams, especially like Weiss and Lockhart.
Right.
And then Georgetown and LBJ. And that's very interesting that you want to go down to see Hayes and Converse Judson. Why? What's the reasoning behind that, Paul?
Just because of the slot T offense and having some history with that offense and knowing what the capabilities are. And I know the other half of the coin is I know that the secondary for the Hayes Rebels can keep up with most athletes. I just want to see how good Converse Judson Rockets really are. And I understand and give them all the respect in the world based by the number that's to the left of their name. But if Hayes can pull an upset, that offense is the offense to do it against a team like the Judson Rockets.
All right, so the Hayes Rebels taking on Converse Judson. That's going to be the big game of the night. And, of course, Zach Lucetto going to be out at Vandergrift. That game's going to be at Monroe Stadium.
Yep.
7 o'clock kickoff. Cypress Bridgeland is going to be the opponent for the Vandergrift Vipers. And I fully expect Vandergrift to win this game, but you're coming off a 10-0 season twice in a row.
Yes.
This is 2
Vandy
years.
Perf.
2 years in a row we had hashtag Vandy Perf. I know last year, you know, they were a little disappointed on the way they ended their season. So I think right now they got some injuries that they've had to deal with all season long. I think Coach Sanders got them ready. I think the Vandergrift Vipers are ready to play in this third season, really. First season, of course, is non-district. Second season, district. Third season is the playoffs, Paul.
I think Coach Sanders has a lot of equity built up in his team right now. He's played some really good teams close to the vest, especially early on in the year. And I think that's exactly what you're going to see on Friday night at Monroe Stadium. You're going to see a low-scoring game. Coach Sanders is going to take away the strength that Bridgeland's going to bring to the table. We really haven't seen a lot of them just because they're so far east. But I know Coach Sanders is going to have the Vipers collected. They're going to have them playing as a unit, and they're going to make sure that their chemistry, which I think is their biggest strength, is played through the entire 4 quarters and it's going to be a real low-scoring game, low-scoring affair on that night at Monroe Stadium.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I mean, Sanders, the way he likes to play football, the way he Viper football is. It's grind it out. It's, hey, you know what? Let's get to 3rd and 2. Let's get a first down. Let's get to 2nd and 6, 3rd and 2, get a first down. 2nd and 5, 3rd and 1, get a first down. And grind that clock out and win the ball game 28-21.
And that's how you expose the lack of discipline in a team, is by grinding it out just like that, because he's going to see, just like in Top Gun, Iceman, he flies ice cold because he's going to wait till you make a mistake, and then he's going to capitalize on that mistake.
Yeah, I like that.
Thank you.
That's what's up. All right. So big week by districts and for Central Texas here on reconathlete.com. And, of course, we've got Flatonia. Who are they taking on?
Number 7, Flatonia. Big matchup Friday night at Taylor Stadium, facing Iola, 4-6, representing that District B slot for 15-2A Division II. So I think Flatonia is going to just keep rolling. Next week, though, after they get the dub and we figure out how the dust settles, who Flatonia plays, I will probably be there in the area game for the Flatonia Bulldogs on their way to a state crown instead 2A Division II.
All right, so shout out to the Flatonia Bulldogs. I think we're going to have a chance to see them play down the road. I really, really think so.
And I hope they continue to keep going east, because I like that northeast approach, especially out there in Taylor, Texas. I think it's a great median for them to play at a neutral site.
All right, shout out the Becker family. Shout out Lawman ATX for sponsoring reconathlete.com podcast. All right, let's get into our college football. Paul, you were ready to talk about this because you screenshot it. You put it in our messenger. You were already like thoughts, and everybody was like crickets because nobody wanted to talk about it then.
Yeah, that's
we didn't
okay.
Want to talk about it. I don't put it on the messenger, man. Did not want to put it on the messenger. But the playoff rankings did come out for college football. LSU 1, Ohio State 2, Clemson 3, Clemson, Georgia 4, Alabama 5. Assessment on that top 5.
I think they did a great job minus Georgia. Georgia's loss, I think, to South Carolina is their biggest blemish. And let's just take everything into consideration. Out of that top 6, all the losses are in one conference. They're all SEC losses. Georgia, South Carolina, Bama, LSU, Oregon, Auburn. I think that's putting a lot of weight for the committee to put 3 teams in the top 5 from the same conference. Do I agree with it? No, I don't agree with it. I think the weight of LSU's win over Alabama kind of pushed them to 5 to keep them in it. But that's what we know this is going to wash. This is going to end up with a 2 teams from the same conference in the SEC. I hope it doesn't end that way, but most likely it will, just because of the way it's seeded. And I thought the college bowl committee would get this right, but I don't think they did it the best way that they should have at this time. I think personally 6 and 5 should have been swapped. It should have been Oregon, and then it should have been Bama, because Oregon's loss was to a number 4 Auburn team at that time.
So Oregon 6, Utah 7, Minnesota 8, Penn State 9, Oklahoma 10. If we're talking about what things should be right, for me, if it's right, Minnesota should be number 4.
Talk about that, Chris.
They're undefeated.
They are undefeated.
They're in a Power 5 conference.
Power 5 conference.
They don't exactly have like the best wins, but neither does Alabama.
Correct.
So if, like I said, remember last week when I was talking about if Clemson was named Alabama, they were outside looking in. You know, if you just swap that name out for that resume, would you have that same team in the top 4? And I was saying that about Clemson. Now I'm saying it about Minnesota. If you just swap that name out and you put Alabama on there, and that with that resume, you know they would be in the top 4.
From 17 to 9, I think is a tremendous jump.
It is.
And I think that just shows that the college football committee just was sleeping a little bit on Minnesota. Now, their head coach came from Western Michigan, and he had a tremendous program. I remember watching his program at Western Michigan Thursday nights, Wednesday nights, and the guy comes out with a windbreaker and a tie and a button-down shirt. Old school. I like it. And gosh, dog it, if you better be careful, because Minnesota, you may just lose him to another big school who may have some openings this year, Michigan, to get that head coaching job.
Yeah.
Florida State.
So here we. This is your little. Yeah.
Just telling you the truth.
Side digs.
That's just what it is.
That's true.
We ain't hiring Deion Sanders. Come on, Florida State.
All right. So with Minnesota, you got something really, Kalinka?
I'm good.
Are you good? Okay.
Talk about it.
So with Minnesota, real quick, if they're playing Iowa this weekend,
Right. Dangerous game.
they beat Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
To me, they should be in the top 4. They beat Iowa. They should be in the top 4.
Does Penn
Is there
State
any reason?
Does Penn State beat Ohio State?
Does that matter?
Yes, because
Doesn't matter.
I think it does.
Doesn't matter.
Because it makes the quality of win that much better.
Doesn't matter. If you beat Iowa and you're undefeated,
Right.
and you're 10-0,
I got you.
and you're Power 5 conference, you need to be in the top. You need to be in the top 4.
They got to
should
go.
be no question.
They
got to
go win the conference championship, and then you can make that argument.
Man, see, that's
I
what
understand.
I'm saying, man.
I understand that the 10-0 garners more weight. I agree with that, but in the long term, it takes one game to slip. Now, if you're telling me that they go into Iowa and they dominate by 14 or more,
The Paul Rodriguez.
I didn't say 21. I just said 14. Well, it'd be away games. It'd be 10, right?
It was the Paul Rodriguez.
The P-Rod Power Index.
P-Rod Power Index. Power win.
So if they won by 10 or more,
Yeah.
I
Go
mean,
ahead.
a dominant victory in Ames, Iowa, would be a huge catalyst for the Gophers. And I agree with that. But to me, you need a conference title to go in there and jump them. Because who would that mean? What would that mean? That means you beat Ohio State. That's what that means.
If you go 10-0 with a win over Iowa, win over Penn State 2 weeks in a row, you should be in the top 4. If you go 11-0 with the wins over Northwestern, you should be in the top 4.
So if you get that top 4 spot and you kick out Alabama, because Georgia's going to lose in the conference title, that means you're going to let a one-loss Golden Gophers get in rather than Alabama with the one loss
With a
to the number 1 team in the nation.
so you're talking about if Alabama wins,
If Alabama wins out,
wins the
LSU
SEC
beats Georgia,
championship.
right? And
Okay.
and the Golden Gophers only losses in the Big Ten championship. You're going to keep the Gophers in and Bama out?
No, I'm just saying they shouldn't be in right now. Why can't they be in right now? I'm not talking about 3 weeks from now. I'm talking about right now.
So after Saturday, if they
After
get
Saturday,
the
if
victory,
Iowa gets a victory and goes 10-0, they're 10-0.
yeah,
They're in a Power 5 conference,
They
like
are.
I said. They're gonna have wins over Penn State and Iowa
yep.
2 weeks in a row. They deserve to be in the top 4. Definitely, if they get 11-0 and they have a win over Northwestern.
Those victories are more impactful than Alabama or than Oregon.
And if they go 12-0, they'll have win. That last game is against Wisconsin.
If they go 12-0 and they win a conference title, they're in. They're locked. You can't keep them out.
yeah, you're not going. They're not going to. But I'm just saying, like right now,
I on Ohio State.
But yes, Ohio State's
know
going to win. To me, Ohio State's going to win the national championship.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, like, there's just we're so enamored, and ESPN and all the pundits are just so in love with the SEC that they can't get away from putting all these teams up here.
They're in love with them because it drives dollars, and that's why they're in love with
Well,
them.
that's what I'm saying. I mean, and we understand that, and we
Yeah.
know that here at Recon Athlete because dollars make sense, and that's what's up. I mean, that's just the way America is.
Yep.
Because dollars gets you where you need to be, and that's fine, and I understand that. But if you're talking about rankings, this means nothing to me. The college football playoff rankings mean nothing to me.
Let me ask you this question because I'm kind of thinking about
Because
this.
I'm thinking you need a tournament now.
If we need a 10-team tournament, and
That's
we'll
for
talk about another day.
Podcast.
But right now, I'm looking at this. If Minnesota wins in Iowa, and it's a significant victory, it's not a dominant blowout, but it's a solid victory. They should at least jump to 5.
They should.
They should at least jump to 5. I know it doesn't make sense, but the reason I say that is because LSU and Georgia have to play each other.
Okay.
You know that.
Okay.
And if you know that that's the case, you want to make sure that you don't let Alabama walk in with the Georgia loss at the end of the year and keep out who I think is a better team to represent the nation in Oregon. I think they should be 5 right now, but that's just my opinion.
Okay. So Kalunga's been here. He just took a swallow of his Christ Market soda over here. He's been listening to us for the past few minutes, debating this. What are your thoughts on this? I don't know how much college football you watch,
Man,
but just
I
from
watch a lot of college football,
but just from
it's
what you heard from us too right now, what are your thoughts about this?
from what I heard, you were saying that Iowa needs to be in the top 4 if they win.
Minnesota, because they'll be 10-0 with a win over Iowa. They beat Penn State last week.
Well, if that happens, though, whose spot you think they're going to take in that top 4?
It don't matter to me. Either probably Georgia.
Probably Georgia.
Yeah, because they'll still have that one loss. To me, they'll jump Georgia, Alabama, Oregon, and Utah.
What is y'all's thoughts on the whole national championship? Anyways, like who do y'all think is going to win it all this year?
Oh, I got Ohio State.
Yeah, I like LSU to win the whole thing. Joe Burrow's going to win the Heisman.
Yeah, I
but
agree.
I'm just saying, Minnesota should be in the top 4
because if they go 10-0.
Well, they're in a Power 5. They're in a Power 5 conference, and they have better quality wins over the teams that are above them.
That's all I'm saying. And for some
I feel
reason,
you on that. I've always liked Oregon too.
I like them at 5. I like them at 5. I know we're cutting hairs, but I don't want Alabama to walk in because Georgia loses. It doesn't make sense. It ain't fair.
It isn't.
Life ain't fair.
But
I know.
But Nick Saban gets his way every year.
Nick Saban will cry like a girl.
Dude,
he will cry like a baby if they don't make it into that playoff.
That's what I wanted to bring up. Like they said, like I didn't watch the end of the game, but did they say he was being a poor sportsman? Like, didn't they say he walked off the field? Like,
who's Saban?
I didn't watch the end of it.
I don't know, man, but I wouldn't put that past him, man. He takes his ball and he goes home.
That's big baby stuff right there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Ego's the enemy.
Yep.
That's why he didn't last in the NFL.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like he couldn't handle losing all the time with the Dolphins like that.
He did lose a lot.
That is
he
true.
lost a lot.
That is true. We'll talk about it here at the NFL here, of course.
But y'all talking about all these big teams, man. Like I'm just ready for Tech to be in the top 4 again. But that's probably gonna be another 20 years from now.
Hey, we'll talk a little bit of Tech here in a couple of weeks when they're coming in town, man.
Yeah, we're gonna talk UT today or what?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and make that transition right now.
We might as well, man, because I ain't gonna lie. I told you I thought they were gonna win last week, and then we thought that they were gonna lose. But dude, they shocked me.
Yeah, they shocked me too. I'm gonna have to say they shocked me.
I didn't even watch it, and I got my notifications on Google, and it was like, 27-24, and I'm like, oh, well, that's surprising. They pulled a victory against K-State.
Dude, I was tripping out because we were in the office at the market. It was a little slow because everybody was watching the game. We were watching the game in the office, man. Me and my GM, Roy Pettis, the one they call Elvis, the pitmaster at Kreitz Market at 35 years. He walked out, man. He was so ticked off that they were down 14-0 right off the gate. He's like, oh, we're going to lose by a lot. When they pulled it off, man, like...
Wait, he walked off where?
To the back of the pits, man. Like,
I thought you said he left work.
No. Hey, he has the right to. You know what I'm saying? 35 years with no day off, no vacation, man. Like that man can do what he wants.
35. That'd be hilarious, dude. 35 years of a dude like not missing a day of work, and the Longhorns losing a football game drives him away.
Yes, dude. He was that ticked off, man. Like he kept on turning red. I was like, bro, like. Yeah. I thought they were going to get beat by a lot, but them coming back and winning was...
Man, it did show me a lot. Yeah, it did show me a lot because, I've been kind of on the Longhorns the past few weeks, questioning, their mettle, questioning, whether or not they have that fire, whether or not they have that competitiveness, whether or not they want to step up and make something out of this season despite the losses that they've had so far. And they really did show me something. They were down 14-0, and... I had a friend at the game, Noelle. Shout out Noelle. She texted me. She's like, "Oh man, this game's gonna be long," and I was like, "Ugh." That's all I said. Ugh. But they did. They came back. And it took another last-second field goal from Dicker the kicker, but they pulled it out. Yeah. And a win is a win.
Yes, especially against K-State, who beat OU.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, in Texas, Tech scored 27-24. That was the final.
Yeah.
I mean, the Oklahoma game was 48-41.
Yeah.
Dude, goodness gracious.
LSU has to be very grateful that UT made some stupid play calls during their game because I really thought like UT had that game. UT should have beat LSU this year. I was at that game live. I saw those stupid mistakes live. They should have been easily up 21-0 in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Like they made stupid play calls, and it cost them that game. LSU could be easily in the 8 or 9 right now, losing to UT like that.
Yeah, that's true.
That's very true. UT was, I don't know. I'm not even a UT fan. I'm a huge UT hater, but I was rooting for them. I'm in Texas.
Yeah, that's what's
I
up.
just don't look good in burnt orange. You know what I'm saying?
You look good in yellow.
I do look good in yellow. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, shout out Facebook Live, shout out to Instagram Live. We're on there. Right now we're on John Kalunga's Facebook. I don't know who that is, but he's on his Facebook Live, and we're on the Recon Athlete Instagram Live there, Paul. And you can follow us on Recon Athlete on Instagram, at Recon Athlete on Twitter as well. It's Facebook as well. You can find us there. All right, so Longhorns, big win last week. They're at Iowa State this week, going into Jack Trice Stadium. It's been a very tough place for the Longhorns to play. They are, from what I saw, they opened up as a 6.5 point dog.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. So Vegas doesn't believe in what the Texas Longhorns put out last Saturday. They feel like that was just an aberration, and that
was showing they still have fight.
Man,
you're just fueling them. If you want to talk mess, UT's they're gonna take that as fuel and be like, all right, we're gonna show you what we got.
Yeah, Paul.
It looks like the line's moved 1 point, so Texas is a +7 dog right now, and we're looking at a over/under at 65.5. So they're thinking this game is going to be quite low scoring, maybe less than 4 or 5 touchdowns per team. Which usually these teams don't get down like that. That's not Big 12 ball. Usually it's in the 40s. And I mean, gosh, Iowa State is playing so well this year. I mean, they're putting out about 36 points a game. So we'll see if the defense is, maybe they're starting to heal up a little bit with limiting K-State to only 24 points when they put 41 against Oklahoma. So maybe things are turning around a little bit. Maybe they heard something on the Recon podcast and they thought about, hey, let's make some adjustments, see if that would help us out a little bit. But hey, we talked about it. They get a victory. We did. Just putting two things together.
Yeah. And you just got to go back to our YouTube channel and check out episode 24. We're on episode 25 now, and so predictions for Saturday, this Longhorn game. You taking the +7, Paul? You taking the money line, over under? What are you thinking right now?
I'm taking Texas +7.
Okay,
easily Texas +7.
Not money line.
No, not the
not taking the money line.
No.
He's not a believer yet.
Now, if you're
not a believer yet,
I would even take Texas +4 because I think they could get it within a field goal and still lose the game.
Okay. Kalunga, what you think? +7, Longhorns. You think they can cover?
I don't know. I think they might win this game by 10+.
Whoa!
I really think so, man. And I'm a UT hater, and I think they're gonna win. I think they're gonna win by 10+ against Iowa State.
Wow. He's taking the money line, the big time money line,
bro. I'm gonna shoot my shot on this one.
That could be a plus. That could be like a +220 bet on the money line right there.
Yeah. Hey, well, I like it, bro.
I'm telling you, man.
Okay,
and I don't like the boys.
I know,
but hey,
but when you see something, right? I mean, you watch the game, right?
Yeah.
So you watch the game. Let's talk about the eye test. Mm-hmm. You watch the game, and you saw something in that game from the Longhorns, and you say, you know what? They might be back for this week. We ain't gonna talk about. Longhorns are back.
They were ticked off from losing those past two. They were ticked off.
You could tell.
And they started off slow by letting these boys they did come out with some fire though. I ain't gonna lie, Kansas State, they were coming at them.
Right.
But Texas nah, we ain't giving up. We ain't gonna let in on this. You're at our field. We've been losing. We ain't gonna lose no more.
Right.
That's why I think they're gonna bring it and they're gonna do +10 on these boys. I think it's gonna be 10+ on these boys.
Okay.
I mean, if the Horns can make a run and get a victory Saturday and then run the table, I mean, they could easily just because of who they're going to beat, they could easily jump in the top 15.
I'm calling it too on this game. There's going to be a lot more passing than running in this game.
All right.
I have a feeling there's going to be some breakout receivers that are going to start catching these balls and get in that end zone, and they're going to shock everybody.
And Kalunga calling the game script too.
Wow.
It's going down. It's going. I feel good right now. Yeah. It's going down.
It's that mascara.
I know.
It's the mascara.
So
they
we
can't
got.
See me.
So we got. We cut like this. So we got +7.
Yes.
We got
10+.
10 plus. You got money line plus the 10 points. I'm just gonna take the money line. I'm not gonna go with no 10+, but I'm gonna take the money line for the Longhorns. I do think you're right, Kalunga. I do think that they got mad. And they got something to prove now. I think they got a chip on their shoulder. I think Coach Herming's got a chip on his shoulder. I know Todd Orlando does. He has to have one because he's basically coaching for his job right now. Mm-hmm. So I do think that they can go into Jack Trice Stadium, and it's not going to be a blowout win. I don't think it's going to be a blowout win. I know you think that, Kalinga. I think it's going to be something they might squeak out. Might take another last-second field goal, but they got Cameron Dicker. They got the guy to do that. But I do expect the Longhorns to win now. I ain't going to put no money on it. I ain't going to put no money on it. But I'm just going to say that I do expect a Longhorn victory this Saturday. All right, ReconAthlete.com podcast episode number 25. Now we getting into it. The NFL. The reason Mr. Kalunga showed up looking like what was your lucha name?
El Panzon.
El Panzon.
El Panzon. Or how do you say yellow in Spanish? Amarillo. El Panzon amarillo. That comes out deep, boy. Telemundo style right there.
He showed up with his Steelers gear. Shout out to the Lockery boys, by the way. Jonathan and Jeremy, huge Steelers fans as well. I'm gonna tell you what, fellas. Them Steelers, they lost Big Ben, and I watch a lot of Steelers, and this is because of my homeboys, my good friends, the Lockeries. Mm-hmm. I watch a lot of their Steelers games.
No Bill, no AB,
no Le'Veon, no Antonio, no Big Ben. The Killer Bees are not in effect at all.
At all.
But it's that Killer D, that defense.
That D be bringing it, boy.
Bro, and it's totally changed the way this Steelers team has been playing.
Yeah.
Forever, Steelers were defense. Then they started moving towards an offensive-minded kind of
Since
team.
2013 all the way up to 2018 was just pure offense. We were rebuilding that offensive line because Big Ben was getting hit too much. Mm-hmm. We got an awesome offensive line. They're doing enough to win the ball games because our defense is getting turnovers like crazy. You know what I mean? They serving them up on platters like that boy Dupree, TJ Watt, Hayward. Man, like our defensive backcourt is sick too.
Dude,
that Fitzpatrick, man, what he's done in 6 games.
In the last 4 weeks, he's had last 3 weeks he's had 4 picks and 2 pick six.
Yeah. So let's just say this. I mean, let's talk about the game first. Let's talk about the Steelers-Rams game. Huge game, huge win.
Steelers-Cleveland.
Well, I was talking about
last week. Okay.
Yeah, it was last week. Huge win. Does that roll into a win over the Cleveland Browns? How big of a favorite do you think the Steelers are right now over the Browns?
Us beating the Rams that were in the Super Bowl just last year. I know they're not the same team.
Not the same team.
They're not the same team.
Right.
But that confidence from that game, the way that they're going to come after Mayfield, he better get ready.
We got a line on that game there?
We do.
His line is weak. His offensive line is weak. And then you having TJ and that boy Dupree coming off the edge like that, don't be surprised if there's 4 more turnovers in this game against the Browns. They do have star receivers, but our DBs can cover them boys. They don't want to be running up the middle on Fitzpatrick or that boy. Who's it, Hayden? They're going to get knocked out. I feel like this is going to be a physical game because it always is because it's a division rival.
Right.
But I think we win it by a lot, too.
Cleveland favored -3.
For real? They don't know nothing. That's ESPN?
That's Vegas, bro.
Yeah,
Vegas don't know nothing. They better change that up.
Hey, them boys out in the desert, man.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Steelers win by 14. By 14 in Cleveland. Mayfield throws 2 picks, fumbles 3 times, and we chase that 7 from right now. You know what I'm saying? Tomorrow we chase that 7.
Let me mark that. I'm marking that right there. I'm gonna mark that so I can.
I ain't talking no nonsense, Paul. This is going down tomorrow.
You are, sir. You are off the rails.
Look,
sir.
man, I'm feeding off that 2008 Pittsburgh Steelers defense, boy. Like James Harrison, these fools are they bring in that 08, 05, those defenses from back in the day, the early 2000s. These boys are they're bringing that back.
Freddie Kitchens is going to have Baker Mayfield throwing screens and slip screens to get the ball out of his hands as fast as possible.
Yeah, he has to.
And Chuba Hubbard is going to. Chuba Hubbard will have 115 to 135 yards rushing on the ground.
Nah.
Who are you talking about?
Dude, our run defense is cold, too.
I'm sorry, Nick Chubb, yeah.
Chuba Hubbard.
I'm excited for him to come out of the draft.
Right.
Nah, we've been shutting down the run, too, not just the pass. It's going down, man. You're saying screens, I see that boy getting scared, throwing a lot of backwards passes and us taking it to the house. That's what I see. Mayfield's going to be, he's going to be scared. He's going to be on his toes.
So with this line, this 3-point favorite line, do you think that has to do Paul, with Kareem Hunt joining the backfield with Nick Chubb?
Definitely.
Hunt's back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He came back
Oh,
last
he ain't
week.
nobody. He's fat. He's Panzon number 2 right now.
Yeah, he's a
I'll
Cleveland,
tell you right
Cleveland
now.
version.
It's a coin flick because Cleveland's at home, and I get that. I don't think the Steelers are going to have. I don't think they're going to have enough pass in the passing game to move the ball down the field, and I think Cleveland's just going to key on the run and just try to stop Connor. And I think Samuels, if they could eventually get him into the mix out of the backfield, especially throwing. But I just think that the Browns are going to have just enough, and it's going to come down to like what it is. It's going to come down to like a field goal or turnovers. That's the biggest thing.
I don't think it's going to be a one-score game like that. What it is everybody's talking about Connor and Samuels. You haven't seen that boy Edmonds run? He's been running real good.
And for the Cardinals?
Oh, for the Steelers.
That's his brother, I think.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
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 He's been running strong, man. And
Man.
he doesn't go left to right. He
Man,
goes
where-
north to south for
Hold
sure.
on.
Like
Man, where's my fantasy team, man? Did I pick him up? Man, I gotta
Oh, that
pick him-
DFS?
I go pick him up
they've
right
been
now.
trusting him
Oh,
a
my
little bit more
6-0.
than they have been Samuels, especially to carry that rock. Connor, if he isn't doing nothing in the first quarter, rest him, sit him down, let the other running backs do the work because like they've been doing enough to get us by. Our receivers, they've been catching the ball, but they need to learn how to hold on to it in the open field because last week I saw some hoes of them just running loose like
Yeah, Deontay Johnson.
yeah, man. And then what's his name?
Juju.
No, Juju's been doing okay.
No,
He's
Juju been trash in my fantasy.
He hasn't been getting the ball.
He been
though.
trash.
He's been covering. He's been getting double teamed, and
man.
he's taking away that pressure from the other receivers.
Number one receiver, like get open.
Hey,
Listen,
his quarterback got to throw it to him though.
Well, that's you all talk about Mason
You know what I'm
Rudolph. He
saying?
ain't doing nothing but
they
get
might as
hurt.
well, they need to just put pads back on Big Ben. He'd give him a shot.
Look, OBJ gonna throw one, ain't gonna catch one. Thursday night tomorrow.
heck nah.
Mark it.
OBJ gonna throw a pick.
Think so?
You can throw the cream. You can throw to.
He gonna throw it straight to Fitzpatrick so he can get that third. So he can get that third touchdown.
Oh man, I didn't even realize this was a Thursday night game.
Yeah, that's what we talk
tomorrow.
about.
It's fresh.
Oh, bro. Okay.
It's
Damn,
fresh,
man.
fresh.
Where am I, man? I've been all over the place.
We
I'm
were
gonna tell you what.
we were guiding you to it.
We'll shout out to Revelry. Shout out to the Lockeries. Jonathan Lockery, owner of Revelry Kitchen and Bar over there on East 6th Street. They're having their 3-year anniversary party tomorrow night. So
And they're the ones that are Steeler fans.
yeah.
might have to
So
come
you
up
have
here,
to
bro.
come. You might have to come tomorrow
I'll
night.
come in this.
So yeah.
I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
I got more. I got Steeler dreads, bro.
He
You know what I
does.
do.
He does.
I do.
All right,
Got
man.
them in Pittsburgh too.
All right, man. You might have to because we're gonna be on East 6,
All right.
Revelry Kitchen and Bar.
Closer to us.
Yeah,
All right.
closer to the LOC. Man, yeah, that'd be fun. So Recon Athlete will be in the house. So all 3 people that are watching us on Facebook Live right now, y'all join us. Tomorrow night.
Yeah.
All right, Dallas Cowboys. Just waiting for Paul. That's all I'm waiting for.
What do I need to say about Dallas?
What you gonna say about the Dallas Cowboys?
Nothing, because they suck. That's why. I ain't got nothing to say about Dallas right now. I ain't got nothing to say. But Jerry Jones, you need to make some changes. Do it. But you're not going to.
Bro.
You're not going to. How is Dak Prescott the best player that Sunday night? How is he?
That's for real.
I mean, the offensive line and
Connor Williams got hurt.
Connor Williams is garbage.
That's true.
I know he came from Texas. I don't care. But look, that line, how do you not convert on 2nd and 2 to win the game? 3rd and 2, Zeke's going to get pressured and get tackled for 3-yard loss. What should happen was they should have ran power, but you want to run out of the shotgun. Why? Why you want to run a shotgun?
Because that's all they know.
And if you would have done that, fine. Do an RPO, let Dak spread him out, run up the middle for QB power. How about that? All you got to do is pull a guard. It ain't hard.
Paul's bad.
I know, man. Paul's mad right now.
Jeez, it's just football, y'all. It ain't rocket science.
So here's the thing about that too, because and I'm one of them. A lot of fans been saying, "Hey, 2nd and 2, 3rd and 2, like, why are we just running with Zeke? Why are we trying to be doing, getting all crazy, with, the shotguns and the passes and all that, Well, they tried to run, although it was out of the shotgun.
They
like
ran
you
a
said.
shotgun twice.
Right?
Why can't we get into a power set? If you could treat it like the goal line, get your goal line formation out there, pull your tight ends. You got 6 of them. You don't really have 6, but just being sarcastic. Pull in Jarwin, get Witten on the edge, run that power dive play. And all I'm telling you is all you have to do is run that power dive. You'll get 6. with Zeke. All you got to tell Zeke to do is listen. Just get into the gap. Let the offensive line push you forward, and you get 2. Run it twice in a row if you have to. If you can only get 1, I ain't got nothing else to say about it.
All right, man. So what I'm coming out of this, what I'm getting out of this frustration from this Dallas Cowboys fan sitting across from me, Mr. Paul Rodriguez, is that you're more mad at the coaching than you are with the players.
I've been mad at coaching because we can't start a game until the second half. It's the same script week in, week out, and I'm like, why? What's the point of tuning in? Might as well turn it on after halftime.
So are you saying that you're joining the Chris Sanchez bandwagon about fire Jason Garrett?
I've been listen. I don't care. Listen. As
have
long
you been
as,
on that?
Yes, but listen. There's a caveat to it. There's a caveat to it. If you're gonna fire Jason Garrett, hire Lincoln Riley out of Oklahoma and do it now. Don't do it tomorrow. Lincoln Riley's the guy. He's a quarterback whisperer. He turned Baker Mayfield into a Heisman Trophy winner. He walked on at Oklahoma.
Baker was good though.
Baker is good. He's a killer. He is. K1, Kyler Murray. How do you turn a 5'10 quarterback into a Heisman Trophy winner? Baker's mechanics went and crashed after Freddie Kitchens took over. Get him in. Get Lincoln Riley in. Turn Dak around. You can have an elite. You can turn him into an elite quarterback if you bring in the right people. But Jerry Jones will refuse to win and make money at the same time. Just want to make money.
All right, so El Panzon left. We got a shout out to Panzon. Thanks for leaving. Now we got King Kalunga back. What's up, man?
What's going down? How to do that quick costume change real quick?
¿Cómo te llamas, señor?
Right now?
¿Cómo te llamas? What's your name?
Since I'm a Texan right now, let's do what's a bull in Spanish? I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry, Abuelita. I'm sorry, Abuelita. Yeah, I'm toro.
You're puro toro.
You're puro toro. Puro toro. You crazy.
All right.
Nah, man, I got one comment on the Cowboys still.
All right.
Trade Zeke. Get some picks. Save some money.
Dang.
Trade Zeke. That's all I gotta say, man. Trade Zeke.
How about we trade Dak?
Hey, Dak. Well, no, Dak, man, keeps on it's man, it's up and down with that boy.
Man, he's
up and down. He did wreck shop this past week. He did everything that he could, but what was Zeke doing?
Smoking mirrors, man.
Man, dude,
Zeke, I don't know.
Like one turns it on one game and the other one doesn't. Like they flip flop. All right, Zeke, you got this game. All right, Dak, you got this game. Come on, bro, do it at the same time. Stop messing around. Like it could be the line. I don't know. Is the line hurt? I don't pay attention to the Cowboys because they suck.
All I know is I sure hope that Kellen Moore wasn't calling the plays because I don't think he was on that last drive.
Oh yeah,
Garrett, quit overriding. Let him play the call. Let him make the call.
What are they doing with Vander Esch? Why is he playing right now? He still look hurt.
He is hurt.
He was getting trucked. When he was getting up off tackles and stuff, he was just like he was just moping around. I took a picture with that boy live, man. He has some chicken legs. He's gonna get trucked.
He's not very good, man. And I've been saying that. I'm like, Paul, you can.
He needs to hit weights.
I think he's hurt. I think he's a great linebacker, but when he's healthy,
I think similar to Sean Lee, he's a great sideline to sideline guy.
Yeah.
If there's speed backs, somebody trying to get out the around the edge, I think they can do great.
Yeah.
But Chris, in this league, go ahead.
Dalvin Cook coming down the field.
That was scheme, and I'll talk about that when you're done.
He could have made. There was plays that if you watch the game, I was watching the game. He was there in position to make tackles. He couldn't make the tackle.
Yes, and I agree with you. That's true.
He did that,
but he can't execute if he's not 100%. And that's not an excuse. That's just bad. That's bad coaching for putting him out there to not let when he shouldn't be out there to make the play.
True.
I'm just saying, if the coaches were going to go ahead and do things to win games, don't have the arrogance to say, because he's XYZ athlete, he's got that number on, we drafted him at this spot, he's going to perform if he's not 100%. Oh, well, we're going to take a guy who's 70% over a guy who's 100% but a lesser athlete. Nonsense. Put the best people on the field at their availability at that time.
All right, so the Cowboys playing Detroit Lions at Detroit. 12 o'clock kickoff this Sunday against Fox. Paul, you got a line on that one?
At this time, I do not.
Is Stafford back or no? He's still out.
He's going to be out this week.
They should win, but if they don't win, it's going to look real bad.
So they need to win. They got to win this game because they're sitting at 5-4. Now, granted, they are first in the NFC East, And, I'm still a Cowboys fan, still Zeke fan, not so much a Dak fan, still like Amari Cooper, love Jason Witten. I hate Jason Garrett, not a fan of Jerry Jones. And I don't like to say hate, but, I dislike Jason Garrett. I haven't liked Jason Garrett for about 5 years now. I think they should have got rid of him a long time ago. Detroit, they got to win this game because the next week they're rolling up to New England and taking on them New England Patriots, and Bill Belichick going to just tear them apart.
I'm a huge Cowboy hater, but against Patriots, I'll go for the Cowboys.
Man, there's that much disdain, huh?
Dude, for real, man. Those 6 titles, bro, like they shouldn't be there. We should be the only ones at the top.
That's about 11.
Better hope they don't get 8.
That's about 11 days from now, so we'll figure that one out. Now the Houston Texans, they're coming off a bye, correct? And I'm trying to pull up.
They play the Ravens this Sunday.
Ooh.
Lamar Jackson.
Okay, so
you want my honest take on that?
yeah, I do.
You want my honest
Let's
take
go,
on that?
Kalunga.
I think with that bye week, dude, they beat the Bengals. The Ravens did. Like the Lions can beat the Bengals with the 3rd string quarterback.
The Bungles.
Yeah, the Bengals, like, man, like you don't know who's on that team. Who's left on that team?
Okay.
For the Bengals?
Yeah.
Joe Mixon.
That's it.
That's pretty much it.
Man, dude, like I'm telling you right now, I think the Texans are going to pull off the upset on the Ravens. And it's not because I go to the games every Sunday because I'm a season ticket holder. I think they're going to pull off with that bye week.
So you're saying Deshaun's going to outduel Lamar Jackson in Baltimore?
It's a different possibility.
Yeah. I think he
Wow.
will. I think he will, man. He's going to show, too. He's like, all right, y'all talking about MVP. I'm going to show you how we do it here in Texas.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson, if there's anybody that can outduel Lamar Jackson or at least match Lamar Jackson with the run game and the passing game.
The past 2 to 3
it's
years,
Deshaun Watson.
too, the Texans have always brought it to the Ravens, no matter, like, if they're playing at a high level or anything like it's become a big rival game.
Competition breeds competition.
Yeah, and like it's become, and I think who's going to take over this game? Not the defense. JJ's out for the season. Merciless on the defensive end, on the defensive side, is going to take over. Really guide the defense to try and stop this boy. We're going to have to put spies on him for sure. But on the offense, I think Hopkins 160 yards plus, 2 touchdowns on this D.
You just gonna throw past the defense. Just throwing bombs.
Yep.
Go get it.
I see that boy Earl getting burnt. I'm cool with Earl. I've partied with Earl. I've drank with Earl.
Earl who?
Thomas.
Earl Thomas.
Earl Thomas, Super Bowl champion Earl Thomas in Austin. After they won the Super Bowl at a Bun B concert, he was cool as heck. But you about to get burnt, boy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You about to get burnt.
All right. Well, okay. So this is a very interesting weekend for El Panzon, the Steelers' number 1 fan, and King Kalunga, because with a win, if the Texans could knock off the Ravens, I mean that's an AFC North, and that would put in the Steelers win, that would put y'all in a tie.
Yep.
And if you look at and I need to pull it up, but because I was looking at it earlier in the week, and I was looking at the schedule because I was interested about the Steelers. I was like, man, what's their schedule look like? What's happening? To me, if you look at the schedules, the Ravens have a tougher schedule at the end of their season than the Steelers do. So I think this is one of those tough games that the Ravens have. So, if the Steelers can just keep, grinding out those wins, they could potentially win the AFC North.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about, like you said, a Steelers team without Big Ben, without Le'Veon Bell, without Antonio Brown, with a defense that's just stacked.
Yep.
And I think that this is a real possibility that the Steelers could actually win this division because of the way that the schedule is at the end of the season.
Yeah. Ravens got a tough one.
Yeah. So
They got a real tough one.
all right. So we're running up on we're already running up on an hour. All right. So let's go ahead and wrap up this Recon Athlete.
We had to reset the Instagram live real quick.
Podcast episode number 25. Of course, we want to shout out Zach Luxetto. He'll be back on Saturday. We want to shout out homie Snoop Daniel. We want to shout out Fanstand ATX. Shout out my parents. And, of course, Christ Market and Lawman ATX and El Panzon and King Kalunga, Paul Rodriguez, Chris Sanchez, Any final words for episode number 25? We'll start with you, Paul.
It's been a great season. Looking forward to the bi-district rounds. All you seniors who are going to be playing tomorrow night at McCallum and Cedar Park, play your hearts out. Do everything you can. Friday night for all the Friday teams. For you underclassmen, play for those seniors. Put the victory up so you can go play another round. Best of luck, y'all.
All right. Kalunga, any parting words?
Man, Texans going to get that dub. Pittsburgh's going to get that dub. I'm not even a UT fan, and UT is going to win by 10 plus.
Dang. All right. And I'm going to say shout out to LBJ in Georgetown because I'll be there on Friday night at Nelson Field. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be live, man. I think that's going to be a real fun game to be at. So, I'm going to reiterate what Paul said. Shout out to all the seniors that are going to be playing and possibly their last game. Play hard enough so this isn't your last game. All right. Also think that the Longhorns are going to win this weekend. I think the Cowboys are going to win this weekend, especially if Stafford ain't playing. Texans. Man, I'm going to have to ride with Keith Kalunga, man. I'm going to have to ride with Kalunga and say the Texans upset the Ravens. I know Paul ain't he's over there shaking his head. But I'm also saying that the Minnesota Golden Gophers beat Iowa and they're in the top 4 next Tuesday. We'll be talking about it next Wednesday.
Real quick, that LBJ intro is going to be lit at Nelson Field.
It is. All right, Paul, do your thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, if y'all enjoying the podcast, please like, subscribe, and comment down below. Check us out on YouTube. And we gone.